This video is going to be showing you how to make your tachometer work with your ALH TDI swapped Toyota or similar vehicle. On these trucks and a lot of swaps, the vehicle that you're swapping into, the cluster is looking for a different signal than the TDI ECU puts out. So what you need to do is you need to buy a converter. An example of a converter is this guy here. This one's made by Dakota Digital. I'll link it down below. This little unit here takes the signal from the TDI ECU and it converts it to what the truck wants to see, what the cluster wants to see. It's very simple. You just wire it as seen here. So you got your power, you got your grounds. This is ignition switched power on the left here. Over here, so this is a ALH in a Toyota. This wire comes from the TDI ECU, pin 27. Goes to the input on the diesel side. This wire on the right here goes through IH2 connector, pin 20, and it goes to the cluster of the Toyota. I have it on the high voltage setting because that's what ended up working for me. As you can see on the Dakota Digital instructions, you have two options here: high voltage and standard tach output. Once you read through this here, it'll tell you certain clusters like certain voltages. So the high voltage is what ended up working for mine. Here's a better understanding of how it's wired. So the wire would come out of the Dakota Digital box on the high voltage terminal. It would go through pin 20 of the C2 connector. C2 and IH2 are the same thing. And then it would go to the Toyota tachometer in the cluster. Here's another look at that plug. This is the C2 IH2 plug, pin 20 on the bottom right. This is where the high voltage wire coming out of the Dakota Digital goes through. Here you can see what the RPM is reading from my scan gauge to the cluster from the Dakota Digital. It is quite close, tiny bit off. The unit's all wired up. You'll need to download their app and configure it. Now we are going from a diesel engine ECU to a cluster that was originally looking for a 6-cylinder gasoline signal. So down here I have the output set to 6 because this truck originally had a 6-cylinder. The input type is coming off the timing gear of the TDI. The calibration value, once everything else is set up, you'll just need to play around with the calibration value and adjust it to what matches the actual RPM of the engine to the cluster as close as possible. And as you're making these adjustments, you can click the test output here at the bottom and it will momentarily send a signal to the cluster, just showing what the settings are doing. Here's another look just to see what my engine is outputting and what the Dakota Digital is outputting to the cluster, just at idle 900 RPMs. On the ALH, this is the engine speed sensor. This is, of course, where the ECU gets its signal from. Overall, that's really all there is to it. I see a lot of swaps with tachometers that aren't working, and I've never understood it because it's actually really easy to wire in, and once it's wired, you don't have to look at a dead tach all the time. So, thanks for watching. If there's anything else I can make a video on for the TDI swap, let me know. Thanks for watching.